On this episode, we've got Jeff Galloway in. He's a big-time hunter, and from Remington Arms, you're going to want to hear the big news. Jump right in now.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
This episode is brought to you by Timney Triggers, Ruger, and Range Ready Studios. All right, welcome in, Gun Talk Hunters. I'm your host, KJ, and we are back with another exciting episode. Today in studio, we've got Mr. Jeff Galloway of RemArms.
How's it going?
RemArms?
RemArms owns Remington Firearms now.
There you go. RemArms. I mean, that's a good name. That's a good way to transition it. I'm sipping on an energy drink, so if this goes faster, and you got your energy drink.
Yes, sir.
No, that's more like sleepy time, like go to bed, like nightcap drink. But it's not nighttime, so I'm drinking a triple shot, but zero sugar. I just want to throw that out there. If you guys are looking at how healthy I'm trying to be, which I'm not trying to be very healthy. You look like you're in shape, so
That helps when you got a daughter running around.
Oh, really? How old?
Sir. About to be 1 year old.
Oh my gosh. Already walking around and crawling around?
Walking around, crawling around like crazy.
Jeez. I feel sorry for you. I do. And the only reason I feel sorry for you is just because it's like, because I remember those when my two boys were 1 year old, not even 1 year old. Like, I don't think they were doing anything. They're just keeping us up at night.
Right.
That's all that they did.
Well, thankfully, she sleeps during the night. So
Quit bragging.
that helps, man.
Dude,
But
you're
to be honest with you, that sleep is important. And
It is.
I got another one on the way at the end of September, and
Are you
that's one thing
serious?
I'm worried about. is
Wait.
having that sleep. for sure.
September. Okay. Okay. I think I've told the story on the podcast before, but you haven't heard the story. So my wife and I planned our kids around two things: hunting seasons and SHOT Show. That legit, like how we planned. Like we were like, hey, we've got a window. This is our window, and that's it. Like other than that, we're playing with fire. So one boy was born in August. Nothing going on in August.
You got the Grand American.
Well, that's for you. Like that's for you. But then my other one was born in March. Again, nothing going on.
Good
Right?
time for spring break. So
Exactly.
That's a good time.
See? So when was your first one
my
born?
first one was Memorial Day. So, I mean, that's a good time.
Oh,
You're out
that
there
is a good time.
grilling, Good time
Yeah.
to hang out. So perfect time. But September,
Well,
you're kinda pressing a little bit.
on Memorial Day?
Well, what day is Memorial Day?
I have no idea. Like I don't even.
27th.
Ooh.
So-
See, I didn't even know that.
No, that's
I
her
said-
birthday. I don't know when Memorial Day is.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well,
It
then
doesn't even
it's
change. Or is it the
close.
same day?
I have no idea. I don't get. It's time to drink a beer and grill out, and that's all I know.
That's right.
As long as it's not the blue can. But I'm not saying names. I'm not calling names. I'm just color of cans. So anyway, we didn't get on that. So RemArms, give us a little background on RemArms.
So RemArms purchased Remington Firearms when Remington went bankrupt. Remington was split up. We had many companies at the time underneath the Remington Outdoor Company flagship. You had Remington Ammunition, you had Bushmaster, DPMS, H&R,
Yeah.
Marlin Firearms, a lot of iconic brands. That company is now gone. It's all split up amongst
Right.
different ownerships. Our group RemArms came in and purchased just Remington Firearms. So, we just want to focus in on just the firearm side of it.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what RemArms came in and did.
Good. We all need, and I know this is the whole Ford, Chevy, Dodge. Like there are certain iconic brands within the firearms industry that need to be a part of the firearms industry.
Agreed.
Right?
Yes.
Remington is one of those. Remington is super high on the list. Like that, we need Remington in the firearms.
We do.
If you don't have a Model 700 in your safe, I'm sorry. Which I would venture to say, maybe what would you say? 60% of people out there, if they're hunters and shooters, probably have a Remington 700.
I could agree with that. I mean, you're talking about millions of 700s out there.
Yeah. Millions of 700s or 700 actions. Because I think I've got 4 Remington 700 actions
and that's
alone.
a good point. And that's not even counting the actions.
Right. So I'm just saying they're good. We've been shooting them this week, which is a little further back than when you're going to hear this, but we've been shooting them on the range. And yesterday, so you sent me, and thank you for sending ammo. Most people don't send us ammo, but you sent 2 boxes for each caliber. We were shooting a 308, we were shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, and 243. I almost ran out of ammunition because I was having so much fun shooting them because they were shooters. Because we had the Model 700 tactical, the police model. We had a 700, what is that, a CDL?
Yes, sir.
And then we had the Alpha 1, which, ooh, that's a sweet gun.
And that's a good spread as far as what we offer, you know, in the 700 lineup. So, I mean, you're getting everything from that iconic CDL model up to, you know, the newer models on the Alpha 1.
Yeah, and the Alpha 1's a beautiful. All of them are Remington actions, like, and that's really what you gravitate towards. But you guys have expanded greatly in, like, now we're offering 5R rifling throughout the entire line, right?
Correct. Yes, 5R rifling across the entire board.
Dude.
Everything's CNC'd, 100% CNC'd. We bore scope every rifle.
What does that do for your, like, production times, and what does that do for, like, your tolerances? Are you finding better tolerances when you're starting to do all that?
100%. Yeah, I mean, when you do something like that, you know, let's take the action, for example. You go in there and you pretty much CNC that action. We've got it down to about 1/1000th of an inch tolerance now.
Really?
That action is essentially blueprinted coming out of the factory.
Jeez.
And so then you take other factors in there like the bolt assembly. You take those recoil lugs and you take a surface grind to it and pretty much, you know, make it parallel.
Yeah.
You make a more consistent chamber, more consistent firearm. I mean, it's going to be a more accurate firearm, more consistent. It's a better firearm, period.
Yeah. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that across handguns. I mean, we're seeing that 1911s, all the high powers that are coming out right now that are just as good as they were back in the day. I know who was doing all the snake guns that are coming out, the Colt reissuing them. They're just as good. And I think it's a lot of the manufacturing processes that you guys are able to get out of your machinery.
Correct. And you can almost, you know, be a devil's advocate and say it's even better than what they offered back in the 60s or 70s. So when you can make that separation as far as that older product to, you know, what people thought even before that to what we have now, that's a big jump.
It's ridiculous what you guys are able to do. So, Jeff, we didn't even get into you. We know you have a kid, and another one on the way. Oh, God help you. Oh my gosh! It's a good problem. It is a great problem. It is a great problem. It's a phenomenal problem to have. Probably the best problem you can make.
100%.
But man, I still remember the sleepless nights. That's why, like, we almost just had one. Because I remember 10 months of every other hour, and I got nothing to offer. So my wife is just exhausted. I can be up for moral support. Hey, you're doing great. And then I sleep. But man, I just remember those nights, and it was awful. Thankfully, our first one, 10 months into it, was born during the Olympics when Michael Phelps broke all those records.
Right.
And so we got to watch the Olympics in the middle of the night in, like, live. Like, we didn't have to watch reruns. Like, we were watching it all live because we were up all night.
To make that situation, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, why would you? You're already up.
Yeah. Might as well do something.
Heck yeah.
I became quite the gamer. We could just say that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What, you know, I hear you're a wing shooter.
Yep. A lot of my history and background comes from trap shooting and hunting out there in either waterfowl or upland game. And I tell you, man, there's something about there that gets me up in the morning. You know, just be able to go out there and you know, just see the dogs work, to be honest with you. I mean, for me, going out there and quail hunting, that's the utmost. That's the best thing that I can do. Man,
I should have brought my dog in today. Like, you would have loved to have seen him.
What kind of dog you got?
He's useless. He's a GSP. He's a monster. Like, he is huge. He's probably pushing 78 pounds of,
that's a big boy.
And really tall. Like, he's a specimen, flat out pure muscle. He's a moron. But I trained him for sheds because I'm a big game hunter. And like that's my waterfowl season and everything. It starts after my big game season ends. So, you know, those last doe days, I've got maybe a month chasing waterfowl, maybe. Right. You know, so that like I love the social aspect of waterfowl hunting.
Me
like,
too.
You know, when you get out there and you like you say, watching a dog work is absolutely unbelievable. And especially watching a good one. When they make those long retrieves or those long blind, oh my gosh, it's absolutely phenomenal watching them run along the shallows and jumping in and oh my gosh,
that fellowship and just that whole package is what it's about to me.
Yeah.
You know, so
my calling's shit, but I mean,
I can't call either. I just stay quiet.
But you go with people who know how to call.
Yes.
You know, and you pick up stuff and my calling's not awful, but it's like I just don't do it enough, you know.
It takes practice.
Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. So I've got about, you know, a 35 minute commute every day. So that time for me is dedicated to elk calling. Like, and so I'll sit there and I'll just elk call like all the way to the office and all the way back home. And you know, I'm listening to great callers. Like that's how I try to emulate like a really good buddy in Colorado. Like just hearing his calling when I was hunting with him last time was absolutely unbelievable. Great caller. Hank, if you're listening, I think you're an amazing caller. I'll just call you out on it. But like Corey Jacobson and some of those guys, and you probably know waterfowl guys that you listen to and you're like, oh my gosh, like their comebacks are just unbelievable. Their cutting's incredible. But that's how I listen to it. Like I'll listen to a call sequence, you know, over the stereo, and then I'll try to emulate it.
Right.
That's at least my practice for 35 minutes.
That's a great way to do it, because I mean, you have to do that repetition.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, you're shooting. I mean, you can't expect to be a good shooter if you only go out once in a while.
Yeah.
You need to get out to the range. You need to do a little bit of practice for you there. Sighting your rifle, you know.
Oh, shoot.
Whatever.
Sighting in, and it's funny, you say all this stuff, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's a good topic. We're going to talk a little bit more about that on the other side of this break. Ruger.com is your place to find your Ruger Hawkeye. This is a great gun. They offer a lot of different variations in it. And what I enjoy about the Ruger Hawkeye is it is a standard. It's accurate and reliable every shot. I kind of like the hardwood versions of this one, but they offer a little bit of variety for everyone. So if you're heading out in the field, I'm just going to say it, they make great blind guns. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're sitting in a blind and you have a rest and you're well set up, they've got a Hawkeye to benefit you. So check more out at Ruger.com. And Range Ready Studios. Okay, so I'm sitting in class this week in a Range Ready class, and this is training. This isn't I would say a class per se. This isn't like your CCW qualification class. This isn't like that. This is learning how to shoot the gun, how to control your trigger, which is awesome because it helps you overall become a better shooter. And if you are a hunter out there, how about enrolling in a pistol class or a carbine course? This all helps. It all helps. Whether you choose Range Ready or not, just find valuable training out there at rangereadystudios.com. And Timney Triggers. Hey, we're talking Timney Triggers here in just a sec. Big news involving Remington Arms and Timney Triggers. You're going to want to hear this, but they offer Tikka triggers, and they are drop-in triggers. So you're sitting at your kitchen table and you're thinking, man, if this trigger was just a little bit more crisp, I could break that shot cleanly. Well, Timney definitely has you covered, especially if you're Tikka lover or, heck, Remington Arms. They offer a ton of different Remington 700 triggers. So you just drop them in, set the set screws, and you're good to go. TimneyTriggers.com. All right, we're back with Jeff Galloway of RemArms, and we're talking about like kind of practicing and when to sight and sighting in your rifle and all that stuff. Most guys go out right before season. The ranges are starting to get hot and heavy, and they go out sighting their gun, 5 or 6 rounds. Oh, that's good enough. And go out to the woods. Man, I'm shooting that gun all year round. I do. It would be just like wing shooting. If you just went out, you know, right before and shot a couple birds and go, okay, I'm going to go to a match. just doesn't work that way.
It does not. No.
Like,
I mean, a blind squirrel can find an acorn, right? But
I don't know many
you're not going to be consistent.
good shooters.
You're not going to be consistent.
You don't see Kim Rohde going out there and just going, I think I'm going to wing it today. Like, I mean, by now she's probably like the muscle memory is just taken over and she's just a cyclops. Like she's just a machine. Or Derek Mine, all those great shooters that you see. But wing shooting, man, I'd be, if I was a diehard just like you, man, I'd be on that trap field twice a month at least.
Yeah, you at least got to get up there a few times every month.
Yeah. So do you belong to a club or
I
you?
do. Yeah,
really?
So it's very inexpensive for me. I think I pay about maybe $150 a year.
Really?
Yeah, only 30 minutes away from the house.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, you can spend a lot more on a country club monthly than that price.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Dude, the alcohol alone at a country club will cost you more than that.
At my club, I can shoot up to about 200 yards center fire. I can shoot skeet. I can go shoot trap. I can go even shoot some sporting clays off our wobble trap.
No kidding.
So, I mean, to be able to go out to a club like that where you've got all these type of amenities, even pistol shooting, pistol pits, rimfire, everything, you know, to be able to go through across the smorgasbord of different farms and get prepared for whatever type of application or hunting you're about to do is priceless, in my opinion. And have that space to do it. I mean, not a lot of people have that luxury. You may be about 2.5 hours away from the closest gun club.
It's funny you say that because, you know, before we were here in our new location at Range Ready, it was probably a 45-minute drive. It's a hour and 20-minute drive to get to long range. So anything out to 900, I have to drive. I was having to drive maybe an hour, 15 hour and a half drive to get to that. And then just to sight in my gun, you know, I'd have to go rent time at a range.
Right.
And now that we're right here, I hardly shoot at all. No, I'm just kidding. I try to pull a trigger every day. Every day we walk around the pond. I'll take a little 22 with a can on it. I'll go around and I'll play, you know, little spots. I'll go, Chris will call out Chris Sereno, our trainer out here. He'll call out a spot. Okay, hit that. Okay, I'll hit it, and he'll walk. It's actually nice to walk around with someone who really knows how to shoot, and it's just like the calling. It's just like, you know, plugging, pick your caller, whoever it is,
right?
Putting them in your ear and emulating that call and trying to find the inflection in that call. I've got a trainer right in my ear saying, okay, there was something weird on that shot. You need to break it again. Okay. All right. And then he says, okay, here's what you're doing on your grip. Like, that is greatly helpful.
That, in my opinion, may be the most important thing. If you're looking to take that next step to be the best shooter out there, you want to be the best, it's going to take a good coach.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even want to be the best. I just want to be, you know, somewhat functional in either in front of people, in front of the camera, in the pressure situations where a bull walks out and I'm breaking a clean shot, not going, oh my gosh, my heart rate's up. It's hard. Like, I can't get over it. Like, and I break a nasty shot. Like, and that's the last thing I want is for, you know, the best time I, you know, break a good shot is only once on the range sighting in my rifle.
And that's another, like, important point you just said there. I mean, for me, like, when I just shoot clay targets, it's not that much of a big deal. Like, if you miss or slightly hit it off target, you know, you slightly hit a deer off target or something like that. I mean, how does that really make you feel? You didn't take a very good shot to take down that deer with your one shot. It's going off and, you know, hurting bad.
Yeah. And I've had that happen before. And it's because either I was ill prepared for the season or, you know, I got too excited maybe.
Or maybe even too overconfident in your equipment. Saying, hey, I don't need to go sight it in. It's ready to go. I sighted in 20 years ago.
Hey,
how
often do guys upgrade their shooting equipment rather than their skills?
100%.
I'm sorry out there if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that hit close to home. I'm a gear guy. I'm a gear guy.
Me too.
Like, there was a time when I was like, okay, all I need is X and I'll be a better shooter. When I should have been saying, like, wait, I need to go get a good coach. I need to spend more time on the range. I need to buy more ammo or more range time or spend money to go to a class.
Exactly.
I mean, that is when I really started to get better as a shooter. And I'm sure you the same. And putting pressure on the line. When you're in that trap field and you're around with a bunch of buddies, how many bets are made?
That's right.
And those are pressure situations.
Exactly. Makes you a better shooter.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh, tons better. I mean, it's just like in golf. Like we always used to. So I used to work at a golf course in my college years, and I was on the maintenance crew. You know, the guys that you hate to see on the course coming through with the gang unit or mowing the rough or anything like that. I raked up because this was a private course, so it was real tight. So I played free golf. I played at least 2 rounds every day. And I sucked at golf. And I started playing with pretty good people. So I started picking up stuff and I started getting pretty good. Well, at the end of every round, we had the last hole. It was the last hole and it was the beer hole. All right. So if you win this hole, you have to, however many strokes you win it by. And if we tie, we go to another hole. And then that carries over. Right. And so we sat there and I got really good at the beer hole, which made me get better. It made me get better. My whole game got better. Oh, yeah. Because I was like, okay, this is a pressure situation. I've got to make this shot. And I'd make shots.
And you don't even have to put a lot of money. Just put a quarter on it.
Exactly.
That's all you need.
I am very competitive. So. You put a quarter on it and like, okay. That's going to be my quarter. Like, I like that. But two, I think, and maybe it's just a guy thing, and I've talked about this before. Like, it's all kinds of comes full circle. But as guys, we're like tuned in to like machismo and like our ego, and we were scared to try things like that because sometimes you just don't want to show your tail. Like that's just fact. Like,
but I mean, that's a good point too. I mean, you can think about like the history of firearms. I mean, like the development of accuracy. I mean, they wanted to show off. I mean, that's essentially how Remington got started.
Really?
Off a gun barrel. I mean, Left Light thought he could make a better gun barrel than was already out there, and he did.
No kidding.
So,
see, I didn't know that. And you've been Jeff. You've been with Remington RemArms for 12 years.
I've been with Remington as a whole, 5 different companies for about 11 years now.
Good gosh.
So now
you've seen a lot.
About a year now, more than a year. I have seen a lot.
No kidding. So you know all the history and everything like that.
I don't know all of it, but I do a good chunk of it.
I mean, you better know a lot about it. I mean, you're with the company. You better know a ton of it. But okay, well, we've kind of been all over the map, but let's kind of dial in where RemArms is now and what's offered, because I think everybody's like, okay, Remington Arms, great company, great guns. How do you change? How do you go? Where do you go to? Who do you partner with? What are you guys up to now?
Right. That's a good question. I mean, change is tough for anybody, right? I mean, it was tough for me. I mean, you're sitting there in the office and you don't know if you're going to be there the next day. Who you're going to be working with.
I couldn't imagine.
And then it's like you're so passionate about a brand, you don't want to see it go away. And then, you get to this point where you're at now and you find ways, and it doesn't have to be right away.
Right.
But you find what works. I mean, what works. It's a lot of the stuff is already out there. It's been proven. Like Timney triggers. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then there's other little things like small processes that we're doing, improving the quality of the steel, improving the manufacturing process, all 100% CNC on the 700s.
Yeah.
Eliminate errors. I mean, it's equipment and technology that we have available to us today, so why would you not utilize it?
Right. Well, and I mean, so many of our listeners out there and everything, they hear Remington and they go, wait, they're still around. I mean, that's really what a lot of them probably would go. Like, I thought, wait, I know Remington ammo is back in a big way, but they haven't heard much from RemArms. I mean, and now I think people want to hear from them.
Yes.
And this is a great way to do it. So you guys have a new partner. Who is it?
That's Timney Triggers.
So, okay. So you got to explain the whole partnership, because those two, so Timney since 1946 making triggers for a wide variety of guns. Started out, war heroes coming across, wanting to hunt with their original gun that they carried with them in the field. And so they wanted a better trigger. So Timney started going, yeah, we can do that. And then all of a sudden now they grow, they make Timney triggers for everything. I mean, a wide variety of things.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at the history with Timney, right? I mean, they still, support that historical market,
right?
And that's the same thing with us. We don't want to just say, hey, we're not going to support you. That's crazy. You're talking about millions and millions of rifles out there, shotguns too included.
Oh yeah.
And when you bring back a company that is so iconic like we have, you've got a huge demand for those components, especially for existing users right now. However, as a startup company, you've only got so much you can work with.
Right.
So you have to focus in on what the new stuff is we have to offer.
Right.
There's no question.
Yeah. So, but it all kind of skims back to, and what everybody but always knows is the Model 700, the standard. So how does this partnership work? Are they just making it for a line? Or are they making it for a few guns? I mean, what are you guys including? Like, how are you guys including Timney in this?
So Timney, we first started working with them on our 700 Alpha 100. We wanted to bring the best components available to the market on our top-of-the-line rifle, which is the 700 Alpha 1. We then moved it along to the 700 Police line. We go through a lot more checks on that. We figured that's a no-brainer there, too. When we got to that point, it's like, why don't we have this on every single 700, right?
Hello. So, I mean, come on, let's go. Yeah. Let's get with the game. Like, why don't all these all need Timneys?
Exactly. So you take any type of concerns out. I mean, it's you're ready to go. I mean, the consumer already knows. It's what the consumer wants.
And so I spent the last 2 days shooting the Police, the Alpha 1, and a CDL, and unbelievable. The accuracy I'm getting out of those, and a lot of that comes to. It's the trigger brake. Like, it's the consistency and repeatability. If you do not have that in a trigger, I'm sorry, it's trash. Like, it's just trash. Like, it's just in shotgun, plinking guns, like, your trigger has to be consistent. Has to be. And I think what you guys are doing with Timney, I'll tell you, there's not many guns in my vault that don't have a Timney on them. And there's a reason. Like, all my Remington 700s have a Timney on them. But now, if a guy goes out and he's looking at purchasing a RemArms Model 700, it's going to have a Timney in it.
Exactly.
All of them?
All of them.
All of them.
And what's a great thing about Timney, they're not just throwing away some of those old users from the 700s. They're even offering that same OEM trigger that you can purchase directly from them.
So, okay, so that's great. So, even before the partnership, guys that have the Remington 700s can go out and buy a Remington. It's an Impact 700 trigger, right? And it's a fixed poundage, so fixed pull weight.
Yep, looking anywhere from that 3 to 4 pound weight, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Hunting application.
And it's a hunting trigger. Correct. I mean, that's what it is. And then the Elite Hunter is on the Police and the Alpha 1.
Correct. And the only really difference is just the shape of the trigger. You go from the straight one versus a little bit of the on the Police.
So I was shooting the Police, the Model 700 Police, and it's in 308. And that thing is dialed. I think I have, out of 2 boxes of ammo, I think I have 6 left of ammo. That's because I was like, they might want to film with this, so I better hold on to a few. But no, I just got to shooting it and there's something to learn about a new gun and the way a gun, your hand falls and your finger falls on the trigger. So I love PRS. I love shooting long range. And so my grip on the gun on that Police version, I found out that I had to increase like the pull of my hand on my 4 fingers or 3 fingers and then cant my hand out to get that consistent trigger fall on my pad of my finger. And when you get that, the gun doesn't move because we're all trying to do one thing with that trigger. It was trigger finger. We're trying to get that straight pull back. And that's where I think a lot of guys mess up is because they're just like, they put their gun on, they don't think about it, pads on the trigger, pull the trigger. That's where a lot of guys mess up. And I had to learn that trigger. And I think that's same could be said for any straight trigger or anything like that. You got to learn it.
And especially if, like, take somebody from my background. I mean, a shotgun shooter. I'm used to just simply slapping that trigger.
Slap it
and let's go. But you pistol shooters, rifle shooters, you got that. It's a skill,
and it is, because especially when you're as well versed, because you do other hunting as well. But man, there's slapping the trigger on a shotgun, there's straight press on a rifle, and then there's a different pull on a pistol. Like, it's just different.
It is.
But I'm glad to see consistency, dependability, and for the legacy guys, so the legacy Remington 700, Model 700 owners, that Impact 700 is easy to install. Like, that's what Timney's all about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 100%. They've always been that way. And those are two, like, you start looking back on brands within the industry, and we go back to the, Ford, Chevy, Dodge conversation about who needs to be involved in the industry. Timney's right up there with Remington. And now they're together, and that can be a little scary. Like, if I'm another company out there, and I'm looking at this going, why didn't we do that? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be going, why couldn't we have done that?
That's right.
And RemArms is going, we're back, baby. We're back.
That's right.
And I love it. I mean, we've got to have Remington. It's just the way things are. But yeah. What else you got?
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
No. Slow is slow. Slow is flat out slow. So I had a guy tell me that once. He goes, hey, smooth is slow and slow, whatever you just said. And I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I'm like, well, aren't you still slow? As smooth as you can get. As smooth as you can get. Still slow.
Now, do you take the fast Eddie Nelson approach? Fast and loose?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's 100%. Just like this energy drink that I'm drinking. I mean, it's fast, off the cuff, and just dialed in.
That's a big characteristic change, too. I mean, if you know what type of character you are, I mean, you can actually be a better shooter and know what to control.
Man, see, that to me is hard to dial in, especially like shotgun shooting. Shotgun, because I get in too much of a hurry.
That's my problem.
Really?
I mean, I get so excited right at first. I'm like, wow, let's get it done.
Let's go.
You end up missing 5 to start out and run the rest of them. It's
and like, wait. So what's your key? What Jeff Galloway was to give his best shooting advice for shooters like us that jump out of the gate and they miss some, and then all of a sudden they start hitting and it gets more consistent. What hurdle are you jumping over to smooth it out?
Well, that practice, again, going back to the practice, you put that time in to be prepared. So if you already remind yourself that you're prepared, just take a deep breath and just get your one shot in.
Don't think.
Don't think, man.
Don't think, just drive. That's it.
That's it.
It's the who is it? Ricky Bobby?
That's right.
It's the Ricky Bobby approach.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think, just drive.
A lot of truth to that.
I got a cougar in the car.
But I mean, that's how shooting a shotgun should be. I mean, it should be like turning left or turning right.
Yeah.
Point and shoot.
Yeah. So. Chris Serino, he describes that. And he says, well, how much thinking did you do on your drive over here? Were you physically, mentally telling your hand to make a left turn and your hand just goes left? You tell your right hand to just turn right. He goes, no. It's like, it's hardwired in that this is what I have to do. Just train your mind to do it. And it's muscle memory. You don't have to think. And
when you remind yourself you've already got that muscle memory, you're way ahead of a lot of other people.
Yeah, but sometimes it'll get you in trouble. Because when you go into this last year, I was on a deer hunt. Man, this is running long, but it's good stuff. Like, I love talking with you. So I'm on a deer hunt, and I knew this deer was in the area, and I knew I shouldn't have shot him. But man, when you go into predator mode, just like in the upland game hunt, like when you're shooting pheasants, man, you know, looking for that redhead, like, like, I'm not going to shoot any hens. But man, that deer walked out, and it was just like, all right, I'm going to kill him. Like, and I just walked through the steps, and I was like, boom, there it is, boom. He was down within 5 seconds. And I was like, why'd you do that? Hey, why did you just shot a fantastic 3.5-year-old deer. Like, fantastic, beautiful deer. It rivals either one of these two. But he was a 3.5-year-old deer, and I knew it because I saw pictures of him. My buddy did not shoot this deer, showed me pictures of him. I go, yeah, that's a 3.5-year-old deer. Sure enough, he walks out and I shoot him. Like, on Thanksgiving Day. On Thanksgiving Day, after having a peanut butter and jelly and a slice of pecan pie in my truck, all alone on Thanksgiving. That's what happens. Like, you get into a mode.
You do.
You get in a mode, and the trigger flips, and then all of a sudden you're like,
that's a good point there too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, depending upon your application, I mean, it becomes that much more important to realize what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff. All right, Jeff. Man, I appreciate you coming on, man.
You, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And hey, where can they find out more about RemArms? Because this is a big deal. If you are listening to this, this is a monumental breakthrough in RemArms and Timney triggers. It cannot be underestimated. You've got to go. You got to feel these triggers. You got to feel these guns, because what I've been shooting, I am very impressed, and they're going to be hard pressed to get these guns out of my grasp. I know I got to send them back, but I really don't want to.
I don't blame you there. The best place to get information right now is, of course, our website. Just your basic proc specs and things like that, pictures, videos. A lot of the marketing stuff is coming right straight through YouTube. So
Okay.
if you go ahead and subscribe to Remington 1816, you're going to be already in connection to all that information.
Yeah, it's great stuff. On Instagram too, right?
Instagram,
They put out some
Facebook,
cool
yes, sir.
stuff. They really do put out some good stuff. Go give them a look. But yeah, guys, this is Jeff Galloway, RemArms. I am KJ, and hey, you know the drill. Keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction, and always be on the hunt.